Hello everyone, welcome back to Bits and Bob's Divination. My name is Caitlin, and today we're going to be diving into the simple yet potent messages of nourishment meant for you at this time. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so welcome back my beautiful kindred spirits and anyone new who may be joining us here today. If you'd like to, throughout the reading, to subscribe to this channel, then definitely feel free to, as I put out new readings every single Monday. The reason why we're going to be doing such a simple reading today is as I was trying to set up for this reading, usually I try out a few different spreads, try out a few different ways in which I'd like to do the reading, whatever it may be, and every single type of reading that I was thinking about doing, dream work readings, a reading from spirit, a reading on career, all these different kinds of ideas I had meandering, and I spent like 3 hours trying to decide what this reading would be, and in the end I just realized that maybe some of you just really need some nourishing, simplified, potent messages, and to not complicate it. So I'm going to try not to do that here today with each of your readings, and I hope I did succeed in that with each of them. But as I said, if you want to look into a reading that goes a little bit deeper into those topics I mentioned before, then definitely feel free to check out the rest of the ones on my channel. I also have lots of other ways you can support the channel through my Instagram community of Kindred Spirits as well, where I get more personal, and it's a great way to connect with the different offerings that I provide for spiritual offerings, as well as ones that are specifically queer-based, or even ones for snail mail readings if you want to look even deeper. But yeah, we're going to look into the simple things today. So let's go ahead and look at these piles. So here for pile number 1, we have a little milky shell. It looks like this on the other side, maybe not the cutest, but it does have this very milky texture and these cute little flakes in the inside. So that is pile number 1. For pile number 2 here, we have a little scallop shell with this really pretty sort of pink peach sort of color going on the front. And then it also has this milky side on the inside as well. So that's group number 2. And lastly, but definitely not least, is group number 3 here with this more spiral shaped, and I know there's a specific word for these types of shells, but I can't think of it in this moment, but this spirally shell that's showing up here, it is also very milky and protective. So that is group number 3. So before you start deciding which pile is for you, I always invite you to take a deep and cleansing breath here in a moment with me to really connect with your intuition, connect and ground with each of the piles, and make sure that you're really taking the time here to nurture yourself. So let's go ahead and take that deep and cleansing breath here now. So feel free, as always, to choose any one of the piles that connect with you. You can choose one of them, all of them, just 2, or a little bit of a few, but you can also play around with them and flip-flop. There really is no right or wrong way. All of the timestamps will be down below in the description, as well as within the chapter marks of the video. Other things you can find down there are the different offerings that I provide for snail mail readings, the Kindred tip jar is down there, which is a great way to also support this space, so definitely feel free to check it out. And also, if you'd like to check out just more of that community, like I said, that'll all be down there as well. So thank you so much for checking it out if you have, for subscribing, liking, and being a part of this community. And we're going to go ahead and get started here with pile number 1. Hello group 1, if you've decided to choose this specific shell with the more milky inside, then this is the pile for you. I'm going to set it down right here for you so you can see it during your reading, as we are going to be using the charms, the watercolor affirmations, as well as several different oracle decks and the tarot deck of choice, which is the Gentle Tarot, a very nourishing deck for the type of reading we're going to do here today. So let's go ahead and get settled, get ready to go. As I mentioned in the intro, these readings might end up only being very short or very long. I don't know. I don't have them specifically set to be any specific time length. So we're just going to play around here and see what comes through for you, because maybe what I'm trying to do with this reading is give you simple messages, because I feel like that's what's been coming through for the collective right now, is to give you some simple advice but potent advice. So let's see what you have coming through. So group 1, what would be most nourishing to your soul, to your body, to yourself at this time? What do you need to nourish yourself and to give you some energy back? Group 1. Okay, so first off, we have here the 9 of Cups, a very wonderful card to get right off the bat for nourishment. It is the card of fulfillment. So as we're talking about nourishment, this is like the card of ultimate nourishment, right? Ultimate fulfillment. It's also a card of really just kind of sitting in the breeze and enjoying the smaller things in life, especially in this type of readings, to really take in each sunset, each rainbow, each moment in life that can be nourishing to you. Even the ones like rain on a nice afternoon can be lovely as well. So just really taking those in. I want to see what else comes up with the rest of your cards though. But I do want to mention the 9 of Cups also can talk about wish fulfillment as well. So I'll keep on seeing how that comes through with the rest of yours. But if you've been asking for wishes or sending out prayers, or maybe it was your birthday recently and you made a wish on your candles, there might be something to that might be coming through here soon. So keep an eye on it, especially if there's anything symbolizing that wish coming through within the cards. So group 1, nourishing messages at this time. All right, so they're flying out here. Okay, let's see. So first off, immediately we got the World. This talks about things coming full circle. It can also talk about a connection between the start of a journey and the end of a journey coming through, and really honoring the journey that you're currently on. And the part of, okay, so what I'm getting here is that like you might not be finishing a journey yet. For your nourishing message, it's mostly about taking time to realize where you are on your journey and recognizing that that's where you're meant to be right now. And even if that means that you're not where you want to be yet, it's where you need to be. And sometimes that's kind of a hard truth to take in, especially if you're in a situation that is kind of sticky or difficult. I'm not really saying that you have to stay there forever, but that where you are right now is going to get you to a place of fulfillment and nourishment in a way that you really need to. And some of the hard lessons that you're going through right now might be ultimately more fulfilling because of having gone through them. And like I said, I'm not saying that your experience that you might be going through right now is something that had to happen or was divine or something like that. I definitely don't believe that, but more so that it's just sort of a piece of your path that is one to honor at this time, to honor the difficulty, because it really is going to give you that rainbow at the end, to give you more of that nourishment, fulfillment, and learned lessons. So anyway, I feel like this reading it, like I said, it's gonna just go with the flow. So we also got the Seed of Cups, very much about the go with the flow energy. And then I also felt this Lover's card at the end, but just in case the 10 of Thunder or the Hierophant had something for you, I'll hold those up for you. Feel free to pause. But let's go ahead and see what these are giving you right now. So, okay. All right, so I'll go ahead and hold these up for you real quick. We have the Lovers here and the Seed of Cups alongside the rest of your cards. The things that I'm getting just visually off of your cards is this open feeling, right? We've got the World with their hands opening up and really opening the situation and seeing that situation with open arms to gain some of that fulfillment that you're looking for. If you're feeling kind of stuck in a situation because things aren't moving quick enough for you, or you want to be farther in your journey, you want more wisdom, you want more fulfillment, you want the wishes that you want to manifest what you want, there is this feeling of you keep continually chasing it. And the insight that I'm getting here is to slow down. And honestly, it's a message that I feel is so obvious that it's almost like it doesn't need to be said. But like I said, these are nourishing messages. So if you are going through and just constantly chasing a dream, chasing that next thing, chasing the next big fulfilling thing, it's going to make the smaller things seem less important, right? Because you're only celebrating your highs, celebrating the biggest moments, the biggest things that are happening for you. And so that means when we look back, we're not noticing how much you've really gained from your journey so far. And so you're really being asked to sit in it, to really sit in the fulfillment that you've had, to really sit in there and notice how much love, how much nourishment, how much support you've gained from this entire situation. And also that even though it may be raining, that rain can be nourishing too, right? Even in difficult situations, we may be always, like I said, seeking that rainbow, but sometimes afternoon rain can be really lovely. Sometimes sitting in the rain can be not only nourishing, but refreshing. Sometimes shouting into the wind of a storm can be super, cathartic. So I think the simple pleasures, like the actual sensual pleasures too, right? Like really taking in all of your senses in your situation right now, even like physically right now, like what you smell, what you hear, your breath, those sorts of very small things can be super fulfilling for you and filling up your cup right now and giving you nourishment. And nourishment at the end of the day, right, is just like the things that give you back energy, that fill your cup and give you back energy and make you feel like you can move through the world with your head held high or with more energy to get to the things that you want to get to. And for you to gain that nourishment, it's really honestly just those simple pleasures. Those simple sensual pleasures are going to be the biggest nourishment for you in slowing down this process and allowing yourself to really enjoy and celebrate the small things, because it's really easy to say that, but sometimes we don't actually do it. So it's about really making that into your practice every day. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and move these down a little bit so we can see a little bit more of your reading. And like I said, I want this to be a simple reading, so I'm only going to pull you about 2 more cards, I think. So I'm going to pull you one from this deck and then one from our other deck and an affirmation. And we'll see if we do any charms, because I don't want to overcomplicate this reading. So what on these simple pleasures is coming through? Is there a specific simple pleasure that maybe you should be looking into at this time? A specific aspect that might be coming through for you, group 1. And as always, feel free to send your energy in. That always does make a big difference. Okay, feeling this bottom card. All right, so we have the 4 of ink, the pen. And this says here, manifestation, communication, and clarity. So, other ththings that might be nourishing to you right now is to make a list, a gratitude list. I personally have a little jar. I haven't been using it as much recently, so it might even be something to just remind myself as well. But I have a little jar in my room that's called a gratitude jar or a gratefulness jar, and I write a little note every single day, and then I would put a little note in the jar, and then I could read them at the end of the month or remind myself of them as I write them. You can also write a gratitude list. I've done that before as well, and that can be super nourishing when you get to look back and see all those small little things that nourished you every single day and built you up as you moved forward. So I think that might be something else to do with journaling for a gratitude practice, but I'm also seeing here to communicate your wins and your smaller wins to people around you, right? You don't always have to put yourself on a pedestal of like, look, I got a new job promotion, I got a new this, I got a new bike, I got a new car, I got a new this thing that makes me, worthy of love or worthy of praise, right? Sometimes just our small wins are enough, and they should be enough. So it's allowing yourself to communicate those, whether it's just to yourself or to others as well. If you feel like you fell in that feeling of needing to constantly put yourself on this bigger pedestal every single time, or you have to chase that next thing. The other thing I get from this too is to write in your moments in pen. So if you've been overthinking things as well, a nourishing thing that could be useful to you too is to write down the things that you want in pen, or write down lists or moments in your life in pen, and instead of in pencil, write pencil something that's easy to cross out, like, oh, I'm going to go see a friend, cross that out. Oh, I'm going to go try and do this thing, cross that out. Indecision, back and forth. This is about really making a decision as well and using that sort of pen energy to do so. So that might be specific to a few of you as well. So I'm going to go ahead and pull your last card here. Like I said, you have a very simple reading, so I don't want to overcomplicate it. But here we go, group 1. Just one more nourishing message that's coming through. All right, so I definitely see where this is coming through. You got the mountain lion with stalk, and it says, is my pursuit both honorable and focused? And so this is one of the more sassy cards, I feel like, in the deck, and it's just reminding you, like I said, you're constantly chasing something that isn't really going to give you the fulfillment that you think it is, right? Chasing that next job, chasing that next thing that's going to put you on a pedestal that says, I'm successful. And it's reminding yourself that small moments can actually lead you towards that fulfilling success. And that success is all just a social construct. So if you think about it at the end of the day, success can be whatever it needs to be for you. And are you stalking? Are you pursuing the things that are actually fulfilling for you, or are you pursuing just that next big thing to sort of tell others about, or to deem yourself successful or deem yourself worthy of other people's attention and time? And that's something you're going to maybe want to journal about, something you're going to maybe need to take some time to meditate on, but that's what's coming through from this stock card. I'm going to go ahead and pull you a watercolor affirmation, but if you have been enjoying this reading so far, I know it's a little bit different from my typical format, but if you are enjoying it, then definitely be sure to give this video a like, and that really helps the channel a lot. But we'll pull you a watercolor affirmation, we'll see about a charm message as well, and then we'll close off your reading. But let's see what you have coming through here, group 1. All right, so it says you already know the answer, and that's what I was getting here from that line. Like I was saying, it's something you're going to have to kind of unlock for yourself, what fulfillment is and what nourishment is, and really journaling and really taking time to do so, and giving yourself that meditative space, that serene space in which you can. And also, if you've been kind of back and forth on something too, it's just reminding yourself that you already know the answer, that the answer is within you, and to seek it out from other people isn't really going to give you what you're looking for. Because at the end of the day, it's like sometimes we ask for advice from 100 different people, but at the end of the day, you still end up going with the thing that you wanted to do in the first place, and you just maybe were looking for validation or a reminder, which is totally okay. But at the end of the day, that answer already lies within you. So that's what we have for your watercolor affirmation. I'm going to go ahead and pull you some charms, but I'm going to try to keep it limited. And then we'll close off your reading. So we'll pop them right on top of the cards. So here we go. Feel free to send your energy in for those nourishing messages for group 1. Okay, not too many, honestly. They just got like stuck on my hand and I felt very called to them. I'm going to see where this one lands. Okay, it keeps landing off the board, so this must just be an important message in general. But we did get the commitments. This is a commitment. This reminds me of, like, it can be legal things, or it can be, as a lot of people think, with a ring, like marriage or something like that. It can also be talking about promises that you've made to yourself, to your past self, promises or links, or these kind of ideas that you've kind of solidified into your life, and where those are falling in with all of this situation. And does it have to do with your success? Is it that, like I said, you might be feeling like you need to keep up promises, keep up that success, keep up the things that you've always been doing because they've been working for you so far? Why stop? But it's just a reminder that there's things that you can simplify in your life, that you don't have to keep following the same path, and that you're allowed to deviate as well. The other one that you got over here as well is the Queen, or the Queen Key. I always see this one as being like something to unlock that I feel like you have authority over, right? Because we have that crown. It makes me think you have authority over it right now. It's something that is in your favor. It is in your hand to do. You have the cards in your play to make it happen. So like I said, you can go after the thing that you feel like you need to pursue, but it's reminding yourself, is it honorable? Is it something you want to focus on? Or is it something that you've just been feeling like you have to continue following and you're committed to make happen? And that's kind of up to you. I feel like this is definitely a reading that isn't giving you a yes or no answer. It's very much a gray area, but it's up to you which way, or a multiple choice answer that you might be going towards. The last one we got here is at the 9 of Cups again, that card all about fulfillment and the small things. We got the fall in love charm. So this is also telling me that falling back in love with those small things is going to give you more of that nourishment again as well. It reminds me of that Lovers card, which we talked about earlier, giving you that feeling. You might be getting that from loved ones in your life as well, and reminding yourself of the small things that they bring to the table within your life right now. But those are the things that I'm getting here with your charms. I do hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, as I mentioned, please be sure to give this video a like, as well as let me know in the comments down below how you enjoyed it. Like I said, I wanted to keep this simple, so it might have some weird cuts as well in case I was wandering a little bit, but I wanted to keep these very simple, nourishing messages, and I hope that it was for you here today. And also, if you enjoyed this and you'd like to see more of the readings that I do on this channel that I put out every single Monday, then definitely feel free and consider subscribing, as well as hitting the notification bell to stay posted as to when I put out these readings so you don't miss any of them. And if you want to check out the different offerings that I provide, I'll have all of that down below for snail mail readings, as well as the earrings and other magical paper and creations that I create. And yeah, I'll have all of that down below with everything else. Feel free to join our Instagram community as well. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye. Hello group 2, if you've decided to choose this specific shell with this really pretty sort of pink pearlescent to it, then this is the pile for you. I'm going to go ahead and set it down right here so you can see it during your reading today, as we are going to be using the charms, the watercolor affirmations, as well as several different oracle decks, and the tarot deck of choice being the Gentle Tarot. I felt this was perfect for the nourishing messages that we're going to be looking into today, and this is going to be a very chill reading. Most of my readings are really chill, but I'm going to take it slower, really try to see what nourishing messages are coming through, really slow down, and also simplify the messages, because I feel like today is all about giving you very simple, to the point, but very potent messages, and we'll see what those ones are for you. Like I have all the time, I'll have all of the information down below on all of the different decks and supplies that we'll be using here today. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So group 2, feel free to send your energy in, but what nourishing messages do you need to hear right now? What nourishment is coming to you in the different energy of these cards? What do we need to see here? Okay, so what we got is the 9 of Stones. We've got lots of 9s coming in. 9s were coming in the last pile as well, but we have the 9 of Stones. I always see this one specifically in this deck to be so open-hearted. There's such a freeing feeling from this one, a freeing from just life's, the things that are just sort of weighing on the back of your back, like the monkey on your back. This is just finding a lot of sort of an open feeling to it. I want to look a little deeper, but basically I'm just getting this feeling of the weight is off your shoulders, the weight is gone. So let's see what else there is for nourishment coming through over the next few weeks, and just messages that need to be heard at this time for group 2. Group 2, nourishing messages. Okay, so we've got the Hierophant, the 4 of Thunder, and the 9 of Stones. Interesting, because we had a 9 in the first one, and the Hierophant actually did fly out, but I ended up putting it back. So if you were one of the ones who saw the Hierophant and felt connected to it in group 1, then that might be coming through for you as well. But yeah, we have the Hierophant here, as well as the 4 of Thunder. So there is something that's already nourishing about the 4 of Thunder in general. It's about taking rest and really taking authority of your rest in your life, and allowing yourself to not see rest as something that has to be such a bad thing in our society right now. It's, you go to your job, you do your thing, you come home to the kids, you do the thing. You have to constantly be doing something, really, right, to be worthy of your time and your energy in life. But we can be still, like a still lake of water. We don't always have to be rushing around for us to be worthy of other people's time or worthy in the eyes of society. So this is the reason why I'm saying society so much is you did get the Hierophant, and the Hierophant does talk to tradition, it talks to societal norms, it talks to religious norms, it talks to laws and the things that we've put into place that make it so that we have to follow some sort of script to make our way through society. And society can be a really freeing thing, a very securing thing, a really beautiful thing, but it can also be very limiting. So what in society right now is limiting your nourishment, limiting that freedom, that feeling that you can finally be free and have that monkey off your back? And that's because what would be nourishing for you is honestly rest, and rest from having to constantly come up with that next idea, constantly coming up with that next thing you need to do, and just allowing yourself the beauty that rest can give you. And by rest, I don't always mean necessarily like taking a nap or sleeping, although that can be a very direct message, but it can also just mean taking a rest from society. So, getting off of social media, getting off of having to go to constant social circles, going to church, going to places that are of social gatherings, however you may be seeing it in showing up in your life. But there is this feeling of just needing to take that, letting that be at the back burner for a little bit and putting yourself first. What would be most nourishing for rest for right now for you? Maybe that's a nap, maybe that's taking some time off work, maybe that's allowing yourself to play around in the skills that you have, so drawing, painting, dancing, snowboarding, learning a new skill in that way. That could even be nourishing to you, and giving yourself and your mind a rest in a way that isn't even necessarily always something that has to be something you're constantly moving up the ladder in as well. Like, I don't feel like you have to pursue a new skill so you can constantly move to the next thing and be an expert or a master in something, but just doing it for the pure fun of it, just doing it because it feels fun, is enough. And that's just a reminder of that as well, that just doing those things, just enjoying and indulging in those moments in life is enough of a reason to do so. And I feel like it's, again, I even said this in the first pile, those are easy things to do, like in theory, but how often do you actually allow yourself to do it? And that's what the root of this entire reading is, to really allow yourself to do it beyond this reading, beyond just these words. So let's go ahead and look a little bit further for you. So we're going to pull you 2 cards from this one. So we're going to see just a little bit more on what might be nourishing to you right now, and also maybe a little bit more on the information of what could be useful for these resting periods for you. Maybe the length of them, maybe how to schedule them in, make them more regular in your life. I don't know. We'll see what comes through for you. But here we go, group. We had one and then we lost one, so we'll keep going. Group 2. Nourishing messages. All right, let's see. All right, so we've got 2. Of course, I just realized the one that flew out first. So we've got the 6 of thread, the stitch. And it says here, repetition, rhythm, and technique, right? If you're stitching in something using thread, it is all about repetition, having that technique, and continuing on. And I even as I was going through the cards, right, I was talking about how maybe you need to actually implement a schedule in which to do so. So maybe you need to make this a rhythm, a thing that you keep moving into within your life and making more time for. And I don't mean finding time, I mean making time. So making time for you to rest is going to be super nourishing and important for you to gain back the energy you need to move through society, to move through those things that can be nourishing for you beyond rest. The reason why you are resting in the first place. The other thing that we got too, to just sort of amp that up even more, is the teacher, and it says structure, guidance, and legacy, which I think is interesting that I put it by the Hierophant with legacy, being like, legacy is, to quote Hamilton right now, it's sort of planting, planting seeds in a garden you never get to see, right? So it's about making sure that you are planting in your garden for things you do get to see, right? That's what I'm getting right now, is not planting for insane future that's so far ahead that you couldn't even imagine it fully, or planting for the next generation, or planting for something that's so far ahead you can't even wrap your head around it. It's about resting for the nourishing things, for more everyday things in your life, those things that keep repeating in your life, and that's why this rest is important. Not for something that needs to be like so far ahead. You don't need to think that far ahead is what I'm getting mostly. And then the teacher also can be just someone in your life that might be useful. Maybe the nourishing thing that you might want to be taking up for this resting period is, like I said, a new skill, and you might be wanting to reach out to a teacher, to a mentor, to someone who has more experience in it that would be useful in giving you that guidance. And maybe that's about their legacy, but not necessarily yours. So let's go ahead and move on to your final card here, and then we'll also pull you a watercolor affirmation and possibly go into the charms as well. But if you are enjoying this reading so far, if you found it very nourishing, useful, and helpful, I would appreciate you letting me know with a like on this reading, but also letting me know in the comments down below after or whenever you'd like to how this maybe resonated for you. But let's go ahead and look a little further. So this is going to be our last final card here. I don't know if it was that one. I'm honestly just feeling like they're just flying out. Let's see. Group 2. All right, Group 2. We're looking for a nourishing message here for Group 2. What do they need to hear at this time? Maybe I need to do them this way. Sometimes this deck has a specific way it needs shuffled. Okay, interesting that you get work. What is mine for the doing? And this is the prairie mountain ant. And much like a beehive, ants also have their own hive as well, in that they all have a hive mind. They work through a situation where each of them do a specific skill in which to help the entire community. And this is also to remind yourself that work doesn't always have to be something that we just have to do to get through. It can be something that can be nourishing as well, and it's maybe making sure that in your work life you're making sure to not only allow rest so that you can get your work done, but also putting in routines and ways in which you maybe can start to learn better skills within your work environment, within the things that you're doing at your job, through your career, through your business, however that may be, to make it easier, to make it a more nourishing and inviting environment for you to be in. And maybe that's having to have harder conversations, having to talk about your role within your job, and maybe changing that up could be useful to you. But I'm also getting this feeling that it's reminding yourself that the work that you do would be most nourishing for you if it's coming from a place that's making you feel like you're a part of the hive mind, that you're a part of a team, a part of a community, and not just a pawn in a system. So if you're feeling like there's a bit of a, kind of like friction there, then that might be something that you have to consider and decide if your nourishment is more important. No one can really make that decision for you, or really make those changes that maybe are needed, but it's something that is coming up as a highlight for you when it comes to your own nourishment. So let's go ahead and look at your watercolor affirmation here. This is just going to give us a little bit more at the end with your charms as well. So group 2, what would be most nourishing to you? Group 2. Okay, so I got 2 of them. We have use your voice. Of course, with that work is what I'm getting here, is using your voice, speaking up when you need rest, speaking up when you need time off, when you need these nourishing spaces. But here we have use your voice, and making sure to be very clear about it. When I wrote this card, as you can see, and many of you who have heard me talk about this card before may know, I actually wrote a typo here, which is why voice looks a little funny. And I actually ended up deciding to keep it in because it made me think that when we use our voice, it's making sure that we are clear and that people get a clear message about what we want to say, because otherwise, they're not going to really hear you or have it go full circle and come through for you in the way that you are expecting or wanting to, because the communication wasn't clear. The other thing we have here is balance over imbalance. So it's making sure to continue to keep balance at the forefront of your mind as well. And maybe balance in your work life. And that's what I was saying, like really planning and making time for yourself is going to be the most nourishing thing when it comes to your rest, when it comes to learning new skills and learning just for the sake of learning, just for the fun of it. So that's what I got here from your cards and charms. Let's go ahead and pull your last little nuggets of information your cards and affirmations. We'll get your last little informations with the charms here now, and we'll close off your reading. So here we go, group 2. All right, I give you quite a few here, so they may not all fully resonate. We'll see. But I'll zoom you in so you can see a little bit more. But the ones that we have here on work, which I think is really interesting, that the ant is actually holding this little wrench, and the wrench represents like the saying of put a wrench in it. And it makes me think like it's like when you're fixing your sink, it's just like put a wrench in it, throw some duct tape on it, put a band-aid on it. That's what it kind of is. And I feel like that maybe is what you've been doing recently, is you're just sort of putting a wrench on it, putting a band-aid over the situation and not really letting it fully heal. And that might be why this nourishment isn't fully, it's like, say you fill your cup, but then someone takes a little bit from it, and then you fill your cup and someone takes a little bit more, and they just keep doing that, and you're just getting less and less each time, but you keep putting that band-aid on, and it's not actually fixing the situation. So that's why that's coming up here again. With repetition, I think it's interesting that you got the top. So this is like something that feels sort of wobbly, not fully working for you right now, right? It's gonna spin out. It's not going to fully keep itself going long term. And then you also got this charm as well that just makes me feel like a little top as well. So it just feels like that's continually toppling over. And again, the band-aid's not really working. The last things that we got here all fell here on the Nourishing card of the 9 of Pentacles. And what you got here is the meditation charm. So I always think of this as like a meditating drum, like a drum beat, a rhythm to keep going and keep moving into. So it's making sure that this continues to stay in your life, and it'll continue to unlock new opportunities for you within society that would be more beneficial to you at this time. And then the other thing we got here is endurance, long-term thinking, because whenever I see this little dog, it makes me think of elongating something out. So it makes me think of endurance. So if you want this nourishment to continue to endure in your life, it has to be something that comes from a rhythm that you are unlocking within your space, and also that it'll unlock more opportunities down the road because it's actually healing a space versus sort of just suppressing it down or holding it down or putting a band-aid and duct tape over it and calling it good. So that's what I'm getting here from all of your charms and cards here. I'll zoom you out a little bit so you can see. Thank you so much for being here and seeing what is in store for you and how that all is kind of playing out in your nourishment in your life. If you did enjoy this reading, as I mentioned earlier, definitely be sure to give this video a like and let me know in the comments down below how it resonated for you. And if you'd like to join this community and be in the know for more of the intuitive insights coming through for you, then definitely feel free and consider subscribing, as I put out new readings every single Monday. And if you want to stay on top of those, definitely be sure to also hit the notification bell. And if you'd also like to be even further in the different things that I get up to for magic, for tarot, for charms, and all the other fun stuff, and want to be a little bit deeper in the community, then definitely feel free to check out my Instagram as well, as that's a great way to stay up to date on not only what I'm up to personally, but also the different offerings that I provide for snail mail readings and other fun and magical creations. So all of that will be down below in the description. Definitely feel free to check it out and support this space. And yeah, I hope that these were nourishing for you and helpful on your path, and I will hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hello group 3, if you decide to choose this specific shell with the little point on the end, then this is the pile for you. I'm going to go ahead and set it down right here for you so you can see it during your reading today, as we are going to be using the charms, the watercolor affirmations, as well as several different oracle decks, which I'll have all of this listed down below, as well as the tarot deck that we're using, which is the Gentle Tarot, which I felt was perfect for these nourishing messages that we're going to play around with here today. This might be a 5-minute reading, it might be a 20-minute reading like I typically do, but we'll just see we're somewhere in between because I just want to keep these messages very simple today. I really want to simplify them down and really just give you the nourishment at the purest form, and try not to waffle too much, although you guys know I love to talk, and really give you guys all the nuggets of information. So I'm going to try to simplify it for you and see what we have coming through. So feel free to get settled, to get ready to feel quite cozy in this reading, because I really want it to be quite cozy, and we'll go ahead and get started. So here we go, group 3. Feel free as always to send your energy through time and space. But let's see, group 3, what nourishing messages are making their way to you right now? So, okay, we've got this star. Oh, such a beautiful card in this deck. I absolutely love it. The reflection, the guidance, the open-ended feeling of it, this feeling of nourishment from the stars, right? Nourishment from looking at something higher, a higher purpose, a higher being, spirits, that kind of thing is coming through from this, but also just feeling guided by something and following a path. I don't know, it's giving me quite a few things, so let's see what else is coming through for you to simplify the message a little bit here. But what would be most nourishing at this time for group 3? So we also have the 7 of Thunder. Interesting, as I was talking about simplifying things, the 7 of Thunder definitely likes to do that. It has this feeling of withholding information, holding yourself back, or holding information back from others. There's definitely like clarity that is needed, and this star is definitely showing this open-ended clarity, so, and a clear sky to look at. So let's see what else there is for you, group 3. Group 3, what else do you have coming through for nourishing messages moving forward? Alright, so we also have here the 10 of Cups. Such a beautiful card. I love the rainbows in this. It feels nourishing in and of itself, right? Like there's a cup on a cup on a cup, continuing this nourishing feeling. A lot of it's coming from family, friends. Like I said, we have this spiritual element, so maybe within your religion or your spirituality, and then your family and friends. But I definitely have this feeling that like right now, maybe you're withholding yourself from friends and family right now, that is making you feel like you maybe just can't give them all of the information, or can't give them your full clear sky version of yourself, is what I'm getting, right? See, I feel like your family, your friends, your spiritual side of yourself isn't fully explored, or they haven't been able to fully see your authentic full self. And I'm not saying that that's an easy thing to do, especially if we continue changing and growing and evolving, but that's what the 7 of Thunder gives us. It gives us this feeling of withholding information, usually for a reason of safety or for our own agenda in some way, but usually it's because we want to keep ourselves safe. We want to play it safe in some way, and that might be because you've been trying something new, feeling guided towards something else, maybe in a religious aspect, within a spiritual aspect, within your the way in which you feel guided through the world right now. There might be just a new path you want to unlock, and you haven't really been able to tell that to the people who typically nourish you, because we have, like I said, that 10 of Cups. So I have this feeling that right now you're just not being able to be your full self around the people that you typically would, because you're withholding something. So let's look a little bit further to see what that something may be. So let's see, we're going to pull 2 cards from this deck, and it's going to give us either more nourishing messages or just messages to look a little bit further into the situation. So as always, feel free to send your energy in. But group, oh, of course, you got the cover. So yeah, group 3, let's see, let's get one more here. Group 3. What would be most nourishing to group 3 right now? What would give them more nourishment right now? Group 3. Okay, they're flipping all over the place. So I might end up taking all 3, we'll see here. But yeah, all right, so we've got the mountain, and it says challenges, adversity, and endurance here. So that's what it looks like. This one always makes me think, like, whenever I see this one, it makes me think, what are we enduring in our lives constantly? Maybe having to not be fully truthful to protect ourselves or something like that, that is creating this adverse feeling, that's creating a challenge in our lives to withhold and to keep up this front, right? It almost makes me think that you're like constantly having to hold this mountain back from erupting, from becoming like a volcano as it actually is, you know what I mean? Because everyone sees it as a mountain, but they don't realize that there's actually something happening underneath the surface that isn't being spoken about. And the other thing we got here is wandering warmth, gentleness from the Ace of Thread, fiber. So it makes me think that it has that same feeling of that triangle feeling that we were getting here from this card with the mountain or the volcano feeling. But in this case, it's built up from this fiber, and this fiber is that connective tissue that we're getting from the 10 of Cups, this feeling of connectiveness from the universe, from the stars, from that guidance that we're getting. And so again, allowing yourself to be more honest, allowing yourself to kind of go with the wind and not try to control a situation so deeply, because there is this feeling of trying to control or hold things back or protect yourself through controlling a situation around family, around friends, around loved ones who really care, community members, spirit guides even. Withholding that information is just a lot on your back. It's a lot to do, right? And it's something that stopping you from being able to get this nourishment, because it's just sort of taking too much energy out of you to do day to day. So wanting that wandering, that gentleness, that warmth from these loved ones again is going to be what actually would give you that back big. You might be feeling like you're letting go of control, but in the end, you're actually gaining more control over your situation than you think. The other one that we had over here, which I think is interesting, because we had the 7 of Thunder and the 7 of Paper with the cover, and it even fell over here, is protection, beauty, and wholeness. And I feel the wholeness of your community, right? Wanting to be whole with them. But you're sort of putting on that protective cover, that dust jacket, from everyone being able to see the full information that you are withholding. So I'm not sure what this information necessarily is for you, and I'm sure you know what it is if you're feeling like this resonates for you. Whether that's wanting to change up spiritually, whether that's something about yourself, whether it's a new avenue you want to start heading down, or something else that maybe you haven't even fully been truthful with yourself about. Whatever it is, like I said, you're holding on to too much control, and what would be most nourishing to you is actually letting go of a little bit of that, being more of these dandelions in the wind to create these fibers of connective tissue with friends and family, and just allowing yourself to just see where you get planted, see what communicating how you're feeling, communicating this information out, seeing where it lands, and allowing that to just happen, because you might be gaining more control than you think, where right now you might be feeling like you have a lot of control otherwise. So let's go ahead and pull your final card here before we grab you a watercolor affirmation and do your charms to finish off your reading. But let's see here what else is coming through for you for advice or just in general more on the story. So let's see what nourishing message is coming through for you, group. Don't know if it's that one, so I'm just gonna group 3. Yeah, I think that's it. So let's see, you got the coyote, which I think is interesting. It reminds me a bit of this like mountain lion that we have going on over here. But yeah, you got the coyote. What energizes me? And we have play. So advice that might be coming through again is to be more playful, allowing yourself to, in general, outside of even maybe the situation with friends and family, is just being more expansive in what you want to play within. And that might give you a little bit more guidance as well to allow yourself to play in maybe a new facet of your life, a new chapter in your story. And the coyote, like wolves, they like to sort of yip or howl into the wind, into the sky. They like to be very playful in that way. They remind me a lot of like a young child playing in the wind. So it's allowing yourself also for that nourishment to come in, to be more playful, to enjoy your inner child a little bit more, give a little bit more love towards that younger version of yourself. And that might give you a little bit more of that energy and nourishment as well. So let's go ahead and pull you your watercolor affirmation, and then we'll pull your charms here to cast on top of the cards for those last little details. But let's see an affirmation coming through for you on this nourishment group 3. So we have here, ground yourself in love. So simple, right? And not much more needs to be said, but grounding yourself in love. And to ground yourself in love isn't to just adore the love in your life or to be there for the people in your life, but really rooting and allowing yourself to root yourself back into the story, and finding the nourishment in that community care. So that's what I'm getting here from Ground Yourself in Love. Let's go ahead and pull your last little charm messages. So feel free to send your energy on in, and we'll pull you some charms. So group 3, what nourishes you? All right, not too many here. I'm going to zoom you in so you can see a little bit closer. Here, next to that 7 of thunder and the star, which I was talking about earlier, where I feel like you're moving, you're evolving the true self of your, like, I feel like you've told your true self. It's not like you are being unauthentic to the people that you love, but I feel like you're kind of moving into some new chapter in your life. You're evolving, you're stepping up into something new, or uncharted territory for them, and that's sort of scary maybe to explain, to tell them, or to let them know about, because here we have the transformation charm of the butterfly, and this is like, maybe it's not the first time you've had to transform, right? We've got a little butterfly into a bigger one, so it makes me think that it's just something that is a new phase in your life that might be a little scary to let other people know. But again, like I said, holding back that control, trying to pretend to be that younger version isn't always necessarily going to be helpful to you, and clinging on to it, because here we have sort of the clinging charm, isn't also going to help you either. And the last thing that we have here is maybe a little bit of information on if they are a Cancer or someone in your life who may be a Cancer in their sun, moon, or rising sign, because here we have the little crab. This also makes me think of like a protectiveness, this feeling like needing to protect your emotions, protect yourself, sort of like that cover. So again, it's making me think that you have a mask up. You're kind of covering and protecting yourself with a protective shell against the people that you love, which is sort of blocking yourself from the nourishment that they can give you, blocking yourself from the nourishment that keeps trickling down through the generations, or trickling down through the love that they want to keep giving you and you give back to them, kind of cutting off that cycle. So to bring that cycle back is just allowing them to see that true version of yourself, to let go and ease up on the control that you feel like you need to control the situation, and to not have to protect yourself so deeply from them being able to see this new step in your story. So those are all of the charms and cards for you. I'll go ahead and zoom you out so you can see them all here, but those are all of them. I truly do hope you enjoyed this reading, and that it was useful and nurturing and just really gentle for you. If you did, definitely be sure to give this video a like and let me know in the comments down below how it resonated. I would love to hear your thoughts. But also, if you want to stay up to date with all of the different readings that I put out, then definitely feel free and consider subscribing to this Kindred space, as I put out new readings every single Monday. But if you want to stay up to date, get a notification on your phone, then definitely feel free to hit the notification bell as well. And if you want to stay connected with me even deeper, I do a lot more with one card pulls. I play around with the different offerings that I provide, and I also give more into my own personal life on my Instagram, so that's a great way to stay up to date on the community that we have over there as well. It's very nurturing and loving too. And yeah, I think that's everything. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for bringing these nourishing messages to yourself as well. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.